faithfully delivering value and interpreting global bestsellers. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, I'll be interpreting the book Affluent Yet Impoverished for you. Literally speaking, affluent yet impoverished refers to a group of people who don't worry about food and shelter, yet still fall into poverty. These people lived in Japan from the mid-1980s to the 1990s. At that time, after 3 to 4 decades of rapid development, Japan had completely shaken off the post-war shame and famine, leaping forward. Japan was a super economic power with GDP second only to the US, ranking number 2 globally. It had the highest per capita GDP, top overseas net assets, and Made in Japan was popular worldwide. However, beneath the surface of prosperity, Japanese society was as fragile as a bubble. Fierce competition, efficiency-first ideology, and excessive consumption squeezed everyone, driving some into working poor and debt-ridden situations. More people, while maintaining a glossy exterior, were exhausted, lost, anxious, indifferent, withdrawn, and extremely insecure, becoming spiritual refugees. The book Affluent Yet Impoverished records the stories of such people. The author, Shonan Saito, is a famous Japanese journalist. Born in Tokyo in 1928, he studied economics at Keio University and after graduation joined Kyoto News, working long-term as a social reporter. His reports covered various social issues in Japan, like education, workplaces, overwork, divorce waves, and he won numerous journalism awards. In 1993, Yenbo Bookstore compiled and published Shonan Saito's many news pieces from the 1970s to the 1990s, titled Japanese Social Phenomena, in 12 volumes. The book Affluent Yet Impoverished that we're interpreting is one of those volumes.
As a collection of news works, Japanese Social Phenomena has diverse themes and varied interviewees. It appears as scattered independent stories, but behind them lies Saito's same inquiry. What is the relationship between capitalism and humanity?
He observed it in the broader context. Prosperity is before our eyes, but with a slight shift in perspective, we see various alienated groups suffering greatly. Today's book, Affluent Yet Impoverished, focuses on this phenomenon of poverty amidst prosperity. The author Shonan Saito explores this by combining stories of ordinary Japanese people with research from experts in various fields. In Japan's post-war rapid capitalist development, how did those who created huge growth miracles lose themselves, becoming spiritual refugees in prosperity, shackled by wealth, efficiency, prestige, and marriage? Shonan Saito passed away in 1999. In his last decade, he witnessed Japan's lost decade after the economic bubble burst. Thus, this book not only foreshadowed the bubble economy's collapse, but is also recognized as a classic documenting Japan's social issues of that era. In the book, Shonan Saito primarily focuses on 3 groups of people. The first group consists of those trapped in cyclical debt due to various desires. The second group are those assimilated by machines in the IT wave, with increasingly impoverished inner worlds and social withdrawal. The third group are psychologically imbalanced Japanese women. First, let's examine those trapped in debt crises. We'll begin with 2 case studies. Ryoko Miko was a bank employee. In 1983, the 27-year-old married her boyfriend, 5 years older, who worked as an unstable income car salesman. Miko became the primary earner. At the time, average annual Japanese spending was about 1.6 million yen. As a junior white-collar worker, Miko's take-home pay was approximately 3.2 million yen, barely covering household expenses. She had saved 5 million yen before marriage, but a wedding, Hawaii honeymoon, Tokyo apartment rent, plus new furniture and appliances depleted her savings immediately. To maintain their refined Tokyo lifestyle with occasional trips and designer bags, just 2 months after marriage, Miko first walked into a consumer finance company, a common microloan lender. This was during Japan's microloan boom era. As mentioned earlier, Japan's post-war explosive growth brought massive wealth accumulation. This stimulated Japanese citizens' desire for luxury consumption and fueled rapid expansion of consumer finance like microloans. In the mid-1980s, the U.S. pressured Japan into the Plaza Accord to curb its trade surplus. The yen's value against the dollar doubled within a year, making already affluent Japan overnight wealthy beyond measure. Money flooded everywhere, and loans became effortless for companies and individuals. Tokyo streets were dense with microloan advertisements, sidewalks filled with promoters handing out flyers. Slogans like, "Call now, 200,000 yen cash immediately," were ubiquitous, accompanied by grotesque materialism. Back then in Japan, there was a popular saying called momentarism, meaning seize the day. Consumption became virtue by consensus, with the whole nation immersed in the illusion that wealth was within easy reach. Every street and alley, TV screens and magazines were flooded with ads for luxury watches, designer bags, high-end cosmetics, and premium imported liquor. Late-night taxi hailing in Tokyo was so difficult that people had to wave $100 bills to catch drivers' attention. Hey. Ryuko Miko found herself in this hyper-materialistic social environment. When she entered the microloan company, she intended to borrow just 30,000 yen short-term, but the clerk unexpectedly offered her 700,000 yen upfront, equivalent to 2.5 months of her take-home pay. This was standard practice for microloan companies. With interest rates kept artificially low, they profited by maximizing loan volume, always numbing borrowers with flattery. Risks were downplayed while huge sums seemed to fall from the sky. That very day, Miko splurged recklessly, buying a bag and ring at double her budget, plus a suit and watch for her husband. The couple then took a luxury trip to Izu Peninsula costing 700,000 yen. The money vanished quickly. Instead of repaying, Miko maintained appearances through readily available new loans. Their glossy middle-class life continued, dining at upscale restaurants anytime, weekend golf outings. Soon, she took second and third loans of 300,000 and 500,000 yen, needing constant refinancing to cover old debts. Even then, at a fur exhibition dragged to by friends, she couldn't resist buying a 700,000 yen mink coat. Thus, Miko sank into a vicious cycle between debt quicksand and ballooning materialism. When her husband finally noticed, she had over 30 loans, totaling 7 million yen, roughly 2 years of her salary. Oh. By story's end, Miko faced daily debt harassment calls, lost her job, her health collapsed, marital passion froze, her meticulously crafted happiness utterly shattered. If Miko's tragedy stemmed from microloan-fueled consumerism, our next protagonist, Yujiro Yamazaki, was crushed by debt from promotion obsession and fear of social decline. Well, Yamazaki was born in a poor mountain region. As a child, he was so destitute he couldn't even afford rice and had little formal education. Through a relative's referral, he came to Tokyo to work. With quick wit and extreme diligence, driving taxis, selling insurance, sleeping just 3 hours daily, he gained footing in the metropolis, marrying a wife who also came from humble origins, striving in Tokyo. After marriage, he quit taxi driving to focus on insurance sales. With strong performance, he was exceptionally promoted to junior supervisor within a year, while intensely aspiring to become branch manager, equivalent to senior sales manager. And amid brutal competition, troubles piled up. He discovered the bizarre norm in life insurance, routinely paying work expenses from personal funds. Japan's insurance industry, after decades of rapid growth, had surpassed Western nations in per capita coverage, becoming the world's largest life insurance market. With insurance saturation peaking, competition intensified fiercely among companies, and sales staff turnover became extremely high. Company performance targets grew heavier daily. As middle management, whenever subordinates quit taking policies, clients canceled orders, or demanded free premiums to sign, Yamazaki often paid from his own pocket to maintain department's false prosperity. Industries frequently wooed clients with varied marketing events,
like treating them to five-star hotel dinners, karaoke, golf, etc.
Companies rarely budgeted for these, leaving expenses to mid-level managers like Yamazaki. Desperate for promotion, Yamazaki endured this silently. Rumor had it that reaching branch manager required at least 5 million yen, an astronomical sum for poor-born Yamazaki.
After exhausting his 1.5 million yen savings, Yamazaki borrowed from every relative and friend.
Alongside heavy work, he returned to taxi driving for secondary income. His wife worked desperately too. The family of 4 lived so frugally they lacked even a shower. Yet the harder he chased promotion, the faster money vanished. He constantly told his wife, "Endure a bit longer. Once I become branch manager, all will improve." Ultimately, he seemed pushed by an invisible hand.
Yamazaki also stepped into a microloan company's doors. Like Miko, he started with loans of several 100,000 yen. Step by step,
He too fell into the debt abyss. When Yamazaki finally became the long-coveted branch manager, it was his 15th year with the company. By then, his debts to microloans, credit cards, and company banks reached 14 million yen, nearly triple his annual salary. Each month, just covering old interest required frantic new borrowing. Household funds dried up. Promotion's psychological satisfaction soon shattered under debt collectors' onslaught. He exhausted himself maintaining appearances, knowing discovery or dismissal would forfeit even his severance. Ultimately, crushed by financial and mental pressure, Yamazaki resigned voluntarily, just to claim minimal severance.
He then filed for personal bankruptcy.
Born in impoverished mountains, he once carried a dream and gave everything for it. But the distorted insurance industry, brutal competition, an upward-only social ladder, and ambition-inflated debt all made that dream burst like a soap bubble. In both stories, Miko's materialism swelled while Yamazaki fixated on promotion. Such desires exist in any era. But what deeper forces made these respectable earners plunge into prosperity-era poverty, becoming prisoners of their time?
Scholars identify 2 root causes. First, modern Japanese lack reliable economic safety nets.
Historically, most Japanese lived rurally. Land served as inheritable savings. Rapid urbanization detached people from land into concrete cities, eroding generational assets that provided security. Second, skills and knowledge vital for survival could be instantly overturned. For example, a master lathe operator's lifelong craft could be replaced overnight by CNC machines. Urbanites became rootless duckweed, insecurity festering daily, hence borrowing, shopping, chasing status beyond repayment capacity. This wasn't mere vanity, but a psychological drive to prove one wasn't falling behind or inferior. Shonan Saito quotes a scholar, "Life should come first. Economic activities only exist to serve life." But after modern capitalism invaded Japan's traditional agrarian society, economic impulses increasingly devoured people's lives, turning them into zombies controlled by money and material possessions. And if the first troubled group in this book are those dominated by money and material, then the second are those profoundly influenced or even enslaved by computers. In the early 1980s, when Japan's first computer wave hit, most applauded the efficiency and convenience, but Shonan Saito keenly noticed some Japanese risked becoming machine assimilated.
Puhei Murabayashi, 28, was one such person.
As a frontline technician at a computer firm, his typical day with colleagues went like this. Early mornings, they'd dash from Tokyo homes to catch trains and buses to distant suburban high-tech industrial parks. Back then, massive tech conglomerates clustered in such parks. Train cars filled with near-identical 20-something men, briefcases on laps, economic newspapers in hand, earphones plugged in, silent in uniform. Arriving at the park, everyone surged toward a 24-hour convenience store. To maximize sleep, singles bought instant noodles or combo bentos for breakfast, plus manga magazines before heading to the office. They'd solve lunch and dinner at the same store, then work overtime late into the night. The next day repeated identically. Saito Riley called these young men high-tech warriors, solitary figures.
Lunch breaks meant convenience store meals alone at desks with manga. No chatting, no news discussions, no interest in food trends or even opposite-sex topics.
Preferring manga immersion, computer technicians' marriage difficulties became a social phenomenon. A 1981 Japanese survey revealed 76.4% single rates among male software technicians aged 25 to 30 and 40.2% among 30 to 35-year-olds. These high-tech warriors not only embodied three typical social diseases of Japanese society, but their conditions worsened under computer technology, one being the escalating overwork phenomenon. During the mid-1980s to 1990s, documented in this book, Japanese work intensity peaked, surpassing even the post-war high-growth era. 1988 statistics showed Japanese worked 547 more annual hours than Germans, equivalent to 2 extra hours daily, but reality was worse. For instance, many banks set annual overtime caps, like middle managers limited to 25 hours monthly. This wasn't employee care, but aimed to limit overtime payouts. Thus, banks devised ways to demand unpaid overtime, absent from official statistics. Beyond work hours, long commons plagued Tokyo. Only 32% commuted under 30 minutes, just 66% commuted under an hour, meaning 1/3 endured over 1 hour one-way commutes. Combined with excessive overtime, home time became virtually fleeting. Just then, Japan's computer wave hit, not liberating from labor, but targeting employees with unprecedented high-precision management. And securities firms exemplified this. Managers could instantly access 600 to 700 personal or sales metrics per subordinate via password entry. As electronic management saturated every corner, corporate operations shifted toward 24/7 cycles. High-tech warriors bore the brunt, constantly recalled for machine failures, never escaping work.
Amid the computer wave, Japanese health universally redlined. A 1987 Japanese Ministry of Labor survey of 15 million workers revealed 67.3% reported physical fatigue, 72.3% mental fatigue, 72.2% mental fatigue, 55.5% showed severe anxiety or distress beyond fatigue.
The computer industry brims with young men precisely because only they endure such high-intensity, long-hour work conditions. Second, interpersonal interactions grow increasingly distant and indifferent. While common in modern urban life, Shonan Saito observed computer-immersed workaholics exhibit even more barren, withdrawn personalities than typical city dwellers. Many grew like hothouse flowers, only book learning, rarely experiencing real-world human connections, never developing sound personalities. After diving into computing, they developed what scholars term technological over-adaptation syndrome. This manifests as battling computers alone for hours, fixing logical flaws. The greater their physical mental strain, the larger the achievement high. One moment, computers stubbornly resist. Next, they obediently comply, becoming endearing. Gradually, human-computer intimacy develops. Compared to machines' flawless responses, human interactions seem troublesome. Thus, high-tech warriors often prefer computers over people, while human senses and emotions atrophy. As computing permeated all industries, this syndrome trended toward spreading throughout business sectors. Third, the computer world's binary logic, 0 or 1, subtly reshapes thinking. People become increasingly black and white extreme, perfection-seeking, intolerant of ambiguity, diversity, middle grounds, or human error. Software engineer Kohei Murabayashi told Saito how visiting parents would suddenly agitate him.
Speak more directly, faster, stop rambling. He'd snap. Just give conclusions.
His mother protested. Why so impatient? You've changed completely. Murabayashi realized. Spending 10 or more daily hours conversing with ambiguity for forbidding computers, plus solitude, had assimilated his thinking. Another female software engineer also said that because of computers, people's concept of time has fundamentally changed. Whether dealing with machines or humans, the pursuit of speed is endless.
If someone doesn't react fast enough or takes too long to think, you start feeling they're useless.
As a result, interpersonal relationships naturally wither away. Many female computer engineers not only avoid marriage, but even find living with others too bothersome. Shonen Saito keenly observed the negative social impacts of technology. So, what kind of social environment provides the soil for technology to reshape humans? Dr. Kageo Yamazaki from the University of Tokyo Medical School found that the main cause of these psychological issues isn't machines themselves, but the rapidly changing society and its pressures, like interpersonal tensions. In short, it's not that computers brainwashed us. We escaped into the computer world to dodge real-life pressures. Shonen Saito warns that if people mindlessly rush down modern capitalism's path, thoughtlessly adapting to new tech, we may soon struggle to preserve our human emotions and personalities, degenerating into mere cogs in a vast machine system. Earlier, we covered the affluent yet impoverished, trapped by debt, and those enslaved by machines. In this book, Shonen Saito also focuses on psychologically imbalanced Japanese women. Their self-awareness has awakened, yet they're hindered by patriarchal societal values, causing imbalance with symptoms like binge eating and vomiting. 28-year-old Tokyo housewife Sumire is a classic case.
At 3 a.m., she tiptoes away from her sleeping husband into the kitchen and begins devouring food voraciously.
Frozen leftovers, roast chicken, thick tofu skewers, crab sticks are hastily shoved into her mouth. She eats wildly, heedlessly, until sick. Any jostle makes food spew out. Then she rushes to vomit at the toilet. The food just swallowed pours out like from an overturned slop bucket, leaving her stomach completely empty. Oh, this cycle of binge eating, followed by vomiting, plays out almost every late night in Sumire's apartment. Sumire is far from an isolated case. Through interviews, Shonen Saito learned that women suffering from binge purge disorders are rapidly increasing in Japan. Eating disorders, traditionally affecting 15 to 25-year-olds during adolescence, the onset age is rapidly expanding. From elementary school girls to women in their 30s, even middle-aged and elderly women now develop symptoms. They typically first show anorexia symptoms, rapidly losing weight, then 40% suddenly switch to hyperphagia, excessive eating. Others like Samir cycle between binging and purging. Beyond eating disorders, most, including Samir, admit stealing, especially food, believing it wasteful to buy what they'll immediately vomit. Many patients intensely reject warm, steaming foods associated with human connection, even despising their own menstrual cycles. The most extreme wish to become skeletons or vanish like smoke. Psychologists identify psychological imbalance as the root cause, with women disproportionately affected due to heavier mental burdens in modern Japanese society. 3 primary reasons exist. First, emotional detachment in families. Many patients grew up in similar households. Fathers were workaholics, perpetually absent. Mothers bore all housework and child-rearing, often stern and cold, channeling life's disappointments into high expectations for daughters, demanding perfection. After marriage, many discover husbands are similarly work-obsessed, eloquent about careers but emotionally stingy, rarely showing wives warmth or consideration. Trapped in such marriages, women experience awakened self-awareness yet profound disappointment. Unable to challenge societal norms, they strive to please husbands, yearning for affection but finding none, desperate to escape but bound. The shackles of social expectations are the first cause of Japanese women's psychological imbalance. Second, Japan's rampant consumerism and male-dominated beauty standards made thin equals beautiful an unquestioned societal dogma. Media advertisements constantly reminded women to maintain slim, beautiful figures. Many started with dieting, escalating to memorizing calorie counts for single rice grains. Eventually, this developed into extreme binge eating disorders. Others swung to the opposite extreme of uncontrolled overeating. The third cause, Japan's obsession with success and perfection, rejecting flaws or failures. And office workers had to perform flawlessly under strict systems. Even elementary students faced relentless pressure to avoid mistakes. Shonen Saito noted many eating disorder patients were academic or professional elites. They applied their professional perfectionism to their bodies, refusing to acknowledge limits, developing success obsession syndrome, critically examining themselves through societal lenses. They believed obesity guaranteed failure, thus rejecting their true selves. Psychologists compare eating disorder patients to canaries in coal mines, sensitive indicators of environmental sickness. Similarly, these women sensitively manifest societal pathology. Modern Japan shouts female liberation, yet lacks diverse values respecting individual autonomy. Women still live under maternal expectations, spousal demands, and societal pressures. Without societal confinement, without societal acceptance of diverse lifestyles, people have only one path, constantly chasing higher goals to survive competition. Okay, that concludes the book's main content. The modern ailments described, chronic overwork, soaring mental disorders, social dysfunctions, aren't unique to Japan.
Take Overwork. Statistical warning. WHO reports show work-related deaths rose globally from 2000 to 2016. In 2016, 488 million faced overwork, 55 or more hours weekly, causing 745,000 deaths.
Age-wise, workers in their 30s suffer the most from overtime, but perhaps it's a case of extremes leading to opposites. After fierce competition, taut nerves, inflated materialism, and mounting debts peaked, Japan's societal pendulum seems to have swung dramatically, swinging to the opposite pole, moving towards a low-desire society or sane culture. Japan's younger generation is gradually losing the drive to strive and advance, lacking enthusiasm for social status and earning a living. This decline in societal consumption has sapped Japan's vitality, making a return to growth seem distant. This adds a layer of allegorical and cautionary meaning to the book, Affluent Yet Impoverished. In the endless chase for wealth and efficiency, should we occasionally pause? Think about it. What kind of modern people do we truly want to become? All right, that concludes our interpretation of Affluent Yet Impoverished. Book notes are below the audio. See you next time.